Can you explain why what happened to the Native American Indians did happen? Did they attract that to themselves, that they were just overtaken within a few years and completely smashed?
Co-creating. In other words, as you find yourself without strong decision, and someone with strong decision comes upon you, very often you are swept up into that momentum, and then as the first little bit of it occurred, there was very negative response to it, and out of the negative response it begat more negative, which begat more negative. Mm-hmm. It is always hard to look back into history, or even to view something so large as the world. It is difficult for you even now to understand what is happening today in Iraq and Iran. For from your vantage point here, you do not have a clear picture. You do not understand the issues. You do not know what they want. You do not understand your government's part in it. All you know is that you are moving headlong into something very dramatic. All of you are feeling it and sensing it. But from your vantage point here, you cannot see very clearly. What we are encouraging, what we would have said to the Indians had we been interacting with them on the day of the first intrusion, and that was really what happened. Others came to the land that they had owned spiritually and said to them, "We like this place, we will live here," which means you must find another place, and they were reluctant to go, as any of you would be. And in their attention to the lack and the trauma, great confrontation came about. We don't need to give you the history lesson, you can read it. But it is our knowing that had they been able to focus more fully upon what they wanted, rather than getting immediately focused upon the lack of what they wanted, that they would not have been overrun in the massive way that they were. There were millions of them, and their pipelines or their networks from one to another were very, very powerful. And that is the reason that it spread so quickly, so rampantly, was because of the networks. It was a little bit like your television today. It would be very easy for you to know from one end of the world to the other what is happening, you see. It is always the same story. Any time that you are focused upon something that you do not want, you add power to it. It is always the same. What we are wanting you to understand is that in all of that coming and going, in all of that negative experience, while you may see what happened to the Indian nation as being very much more negative than anything that any of you are experiencing on a daily basis today, we say to you that all of it is for the sake of greater clarity. All of it is for the sake of understanding what you are wanting. All of that experience that is new is for the sake of greater understanding of what is wanted later, you see. Mm-hmm. You can affect your nation, the decisions that are made by your leaders, if you are willing to focus clearly enough about what you are wanting. The reason that most of you are not very effective is because you either feel that it is too big of a project, too overwhelming, and so you don't try, or you get on the negative feeling of lack part of it and do your protest from your negative position rather than from your positive position. The reason that things have moved forward as positively as they have for you as a nation is because the majority of the balance of your thought has been pointed to what is wanted rather than toward the lack of that which is wanted. As a nation, you live the balance of your thought. As an individual, you live the balance of your thought. As an Indian nation, you live the balance of your thought.
Mm-hmm. That clarifies that. I have one more question before I give up the microphone. And a long time ago, you said that being physical was the most, something like this anyway, was the most specific of being focused, taking the broader and making it specific. Is that right?
That is correct.
Is there anything more specific? Is there a reality that is even more specific than physical, being physical?
All have the potential of being perfectly, specifically focused. The physicalness is a format in which many more simultaneously are. In other words, you are so specifically focused and so similarly focused that you have created a world in which you share, you see. The physicalness allows you a format that was so specific even before your emergence that you have agreed upon things such as gravity and time and space, all of that. And then as you are now standing within that, and you are focusing upon what you will do and how you will live within it, then you are even more specifically focused. There are many physical realities. Is there a physical reality more specifically focused than this one? Yes.
Well.
You see, you are learning here, but it is a very small percentage of you that even acknowledge the value of focus. The majority of you are easily led by whatever influence is strongest or loudest or more demanding. But a small percentage of you are here willing and wanting to control your destiny by controlling your thoughts. There are other civilizations, other physical civilizations, where they are focused, where most are focused, where the odd man out is the one who isn't, instead of the odd man being the one who is.
Wow, sounds nice. Also, you said that a non-physical being can still see a sunset or experience it. How can a non-physical being see or experience that? Do they do it through another one's eyes, or do you not need eyes to see?
From non-physical perspective, let us ask you a question or two to bring it into perspective. In your dream state, even though your eyes are closed, do you not see?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so you're not needing the physical faculties in order to see. You only need a point of reference.
Okay. Can a non-physical being be with a physical being so clearly that the physical being could actually feel the non-physical being kind of enter into their body?
Certainly.
Because I've thought about my friend who has passed away. Sometimes I can think of him so clearly that I almost feel him entering my body to where my fingertips feel like his. Is this something I'm imagining?
It is not. And that is the reason that your question comes forth, can they see? For through your eyes, in that case, they are receiving the visual stimulation of your apparatus.
Okay.
You are a sort of translator, so to speak, very real. We have been discussing across the tops this subject of non-physical. It is a subject that as many hours as we've spent discussing it, our friend still says, I absolutely understand nothing. And the reason that he does not understand anything about it is because he cannot let go of his physical perspective long enough to see the other. And we say, good. You have come forth intending the specific focus here for a very important reason. And so we are willing to tiptoe across the tops of all of this with you for the purpose of helping you to understand that you fit into a much greater scheme of things. But there is really no point in trying to give you that broader perspective, for it would only distract you from that which you are here about, you see. You cannot disconnect from the non-physical. And so if you cling to it out of your worry that you may somehow find yourself drifting apart, that is something that you really don't need to worry about. You will not be disconnected from your non-physical root. It cannot happen.
Is it still okay to enjoy dreaming and looking forward to going to bed at night and dreaming and really enjoying your dreams and writing them down?
It is of value for you to look forward to all things. In other words, we are not trying to squelch your adventurous spirit. not in any way. We encourage you to do whatever you are inspired to do. In fact, most of what we have been talking about here today thus far has been pointed toward your gaining a sense of who you are from your broader perspective, because from your inner perspective you are strong. From your inner perspective you are whole. From your inner perspective you are very smart, very healthy, very prosperous. You are existing from your inner perspective in a delightful place of well-being, you see. And if you could find that feeling predominantly here through this body, then more of the physical trappings that you seek would be yours.
Mm-hmm.